This is the hole that the burglars busted into the side of the building. They crawled through, destroyed the place, took the surveillance system, even tore the internet system out of the wall. The owner did tell us he thinks the burglars were familiar with the building and knew its weak spot.
This isn't the first time the Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover has caused controversy. Hey, back up here, fella.
She needs to cover up.
She can stay on the cover.
Stay on the cover?
She grown. She can stay on the cover.
Driving over the pothole sounds like fireworks.
Wear and tear. It's excessive wear and tear.
Richie Perkins should know. He's a mechanic.
Hinds County school bus and car collided.
First thing we thought was one of our students coming to school late, and we went directly to the other car because it was on fire.
We living over here in a jungle next door to us.
Brown says the property is bringing snakes, rats, and bugs onto her property and makes it hard to keep her grandchildren.
I don't never know when a snake gonna crawl away Mo's ass.
It would be greatly appreciated if they could just come and get rid of it.
The property owner must be contacted, and then they can take it upon themselves to fix that property.
We homeless now.
Now all 5 people who were living in the home on McCary Street have nowhere to go.
Too old to start over.
We kept calling her name, and we had a flashlight just looking in through the room, and we finally got her.
Busted the window out trying to get the dog out.
Now the family is dealing with what they did lose. A home full of memories.
I see fires happening all the time, but I didn't think it happened to us.
Firefighters left the scene when they thought they had everything under control, but had to come back when flames sparked again on the side of this shed.
Paul Hamilton says his son lived inside. He says he first saw the problem Tuesday afternoon, but it didn't look anything like this.
It was just, there was a break in the asphalt.
Authorities say neither the leak in Byram nor the one in Fondren are the one that prompted a water conservation notice.
Wednesday night, the first shooting at Hazelhurst since January happened right here on this front porch. Dozens of people swarmed to the front yard. You can see bullet holes on a front door. For over a year, Beth Baker and her family have dealt with a hole in their front yard that has grown with every rain. And the flooding from a collapsed pipe has literally sunk their front yard. The hole has caused them to park in the street, making life difficult, especially since she was in Iraq. The Bakers face a public menace fine of up to $1,500.
I don't feel we should have to pay anything, and they should just own up.
Folks rushed into Lemuria bookstore Tuesday to be the first to buy a copy of Harper Lee's new Go Set a Watchman.
My roommate wants to borrow it.
I think that the two books will live together.
And I think it's going to make for a lot of interesting discussion about the South.
Stewart had several other stops on air as a reporter in places like New Orleans and Iowa. Officials say keeping just one bulldozer on scene costs around $300 an hour.
65. Most women do not realize the symptoms of ovarian cancer. That was my wife's, Lori's, favorite thing to do. She loved to go to spin class.
And she used her love of spin to help others. In a 16 WAPT investigation, we found out dozens of cosmetologists are working illegally in Mississippi. Hundreds of hairstylists have been operating without a license because of a backlog with the state board.
The average graduate was having to wait on the average of 2 months or more just to be able to go take an exam. Then once they accomplished that level, then they were waiting 3, 4, some up to 6 months just to receive their license.
And so they couldn't work without it.
Can't work without it.
It's definitely gonna put a pause, but you can only hope for the best that it doesn't take that long. But I'm hoping that it doesn't take that long.
But a lot of people just can't wait. Most hair experts blame the backlog on the Mississippi Cosmetology Agency.
Do you think it's fair to say that people hated this agency at one point?
I would say, yeah, probably.
Waylon Garrett just took over as president of the state's cosmetology board this year. At the same time, the board was facing a crisis.
The legislature was actually going to disbar the board, get rid of us. And that's how bad it was.
But if the state dissolved the board, it would mean virtually no regulation. No licenses, no schools, and no inspectors to hold stylists accountable.
It's a fungus, an infection, losing your hair.
What goes on behind these doors not only affecting thousands of cosmetologists throughout the state, but anyone who walks in for a haircut.
Would you? Would you go to a nurse that wasn't licensed? Well, I mean, the same type of things that nurses and doctors have to go through for sanitation and everything, those same procedures have to be done in the beauty industry.
This year, the board has already fired several old employees.
When the new board came in, it wasn't just about clearing up the paperwork, but they also had to physically clean up after former employees trashed the place.
The office was a disaster. There was stuff thrown everywhere. There was files deleted. Everything had to be recreated.
No matter what, it will take the new board some time to catch up.
She has to generate 80 licenses per hour just to keep up with the amount of license to keep everybody happy. And that's not even to mention to the people who forget to send their pictures in.
This board does not want anyone to be able to say, I can't work, or lose their home or their vehicles.
For now, inspectors will not issue fines to anyone operating without a license as long as they can prove they've sent in the paperwork.
I want this agency to be the best that it can be.
Even if that means so much negativity being thrown in your face?
Yes.
Does it affect you in wanting to pursue this career?
No. Yeah, I can't. Never gonna stop.
Two of our own put in handcuffs today and hauled away.
Y'all pray for me. Let me out, okay?
Can someone please come bail me out?
Marcus Hunter and Brittany Bell spent the afternoon on the phone trying to collect bail money that will go to help families registered with the Muscular Dystrophy Association of Mississippi.
We spoke to Larita Cooper-Stokes over the phone. She says she's not ready to make a decision on whether she'll wear a hat on the bench or not. But you may be surprised to know that there's nothing stopping her from wearing a hat on the bench if she wants to.
It looks like it's still burning out here.
Still smoke in the area?
It's more than smoking. We're seeing some flames.
This is what we saw 9 a.m. Monday. Flames as tall as us, tearing through trees and brush.
Firefighters say after a certain point, they just have to let the fire burn out on its own. The challenge is knowing when it's okay to leave.
On the creek bank were two puppies locked inside an aquarium with the lid cemented shut.
They set it here for them to drown, and they wanted these puppies to drown in here.
The puppies were taken to Mississippi Animal Rescue League.
And we think they're probably born maybe out there in a wooded area, so they're a little feral.
Hopefully, with another health check, these puppies will be able to be up for adoption.
Going up to give those who served.
I served overseas. I was based in Joyhat, India.
In Korea in 51 and 52.
A sky-high view. We joined 4 veterans for their flight aboard a C-45.
We've seen the guys get off the airplane in tears before, so it really makes us feel good.
It started with my mom. She ran down the hill and she opened the door, and she told us that my grandmother was trapped in the house.
My sister tried to go back in there and get her, but she said it was the flame just popped out on us.
Now family and friends are mourning the woman that they say held them together.
She was a pillar to the community.
She in a better place. I truly believe that.
He's a schizophrenic. He have a mental problem. My mom, he was threatened, and she asked him to leave. She told him he had to leave, and he got angry about that because she had told him they had gave him 30 days to move. He was angry.
We spotted this sheet hanging off the side of the jail. You can see a broken window at the very top of the jail, and then it looks like they tied bed sheets together and then used that as the way out.
I need y'all up out of here. Heavily armed officers with guns drawn, running house to house with shotguns and automatic rifles ready. Racing to chase down 2 carjacking suspects.